Hi, hello, my name is Gomer Joseph. I hope you've all been having a great day so far. Welcome back to another True Crime Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you. Before I discuss today's case, I'd like to mention my Christian suspense book series, which is Never As It Seems. The first book in the series is available on Amazon, and you can read it on any device on the Kindle app for free. Not only that, but I do have another book series, which is the Juliet Clark book series, which is about a Haitian American teen sleuth who happens to be a successful true crime YouTuber. The first book in this series is titled Murderer at Heart, so the links will be in the description box below if you are interested. Today I'll be discussing the unsolved murder of Nicole Fitts and the unsolved disappearance of her daughter Arianna. As I was researching this case, if there's really one word to describe it, it is disturbing. It's almost eerily similar to another case which I've covered, which is about the unsolved murder of Selena Dalton and her daughter, or not the murder of her daughter, but the disappearance of her daughter Allison after the murder. So the situation that Nikki found herself in is something that no one, especially a mother, should ever want to find themselves in. Sadly, these events might have led to her tragic, senseless death. Now, I encourage you all to do your own research with this case, not to just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. Nicole, who also went by Nikki, was born around 1984. Nikki is described as a hard worker. She had love for everyone she met. She was a dedicated mother to one girl, and I searched all over, but I could not find the name of her first daughter because it was meant. I'll go ahead and mention that later on. But she did have two daughters, and the youngest one that we know of is Arianna, who was born on September 6th of 2013. Now, Arianna was described as a girl who had big personality. She was bubbly, sweet, curious. She caught people's attention, and she had a beautiful smile. A couple of years after Arianna was born, life was tough. Now, Nikki, she had to send her older daughter to live with her father in Southern California because she wasn't able to take care of her. Like, she was homeless, basically, with two daughters, but she did keep Ariana with her in the homeless shelter that they were living at. In the shelter, Nikki did meet a female street preacher named Lamasani Biggs. Now, Lamasani invites Nikki and Ariana to live with her. Now, you would think that she's doing this out of the kindness of her heart, but she's charging Nikki. So, again, like, I just assumed that you're just trying to help Nikki out, so why would you have to charge her for staying at your place? And, you would assume that when you're taking somebody out of the homeless shelter, you're just letting them stay in their place for free until they can raise enough money to have a place of her own so that she can go ahead and get back on her feet. But, it didn't seem like Lemasani was doing any of that. Lemasani also had a niece, and I'm not sure if I'm going to say the niece's name right, but I believe her niece's name is Ciola Hearn. I'm just going to call her Hearn from now on. But Hearn would later babysit Ariana. Now, Nikki's sister, Contessa, stated how abusive and controlling Lemasani was. So, with these examples of how Lemasani was mistreating Nikki, Lemasani refused to give Nikki a house key. She would send Nikki mean texts and would read Nikki's private journals. Contessa and a friend did come to Nikki and Ariana's rescue by getting them out of Lamasani's place. So after, Contessa was able to get Nikki out of the situation, Nikki would move in with her sister. Now you would think that after Nikki's sister Contessa, pretty much rescues her from Lamasani and her family, you would think that this would, be better news, but sadly, there would be disappointing news. So Nikki was 2 hours away from her job after moving in with her sister, and I can imagine that this is pretty tough to be working full-time at a retail store like Best Buy and barely spending time with your daughter, and you're just like spending so much time just going back and forth from work to your sister's house. Because of the long travel, Nikki would still allow Hearn and Limisani's other niece, Helena Martin, to watch Arianna, even after Nikki's sister Contessa tried to get her far away from Limisani. Helena also had a husband named David who would be around when she babysat Arianna. Now, in mid-February of 2016, Nikki had a coworker who must have seen how stressed Nikki was and must have seen how tough the situation she was in. So Nikki's coworker offered Nikki a place to stay, but there was one issue. So Hearn and Helena, for some odd reason, didn't want to let Arianna go. But Arianna is not your daughter. She is Nikki's daughter. So you should have given the baby back to her mother. I don't know what type of hold these people had over Nikki for them to just refuse to give back her kid. From what I've researched, Nikki wasn't able to get her daughter back for like almost 2 months, since no one in Nikki and Arianna's life had seen Arianna since February of 2016. On April 1st of 2016, Nikki pretty much had it and wanted her daughter back, rightfully so. So Nikki's coworker, she finds out that Nikki is really trying to go ahead and get Arianna back, but Nikki's coworker senses that there is definitely something off with the babysitters, so she advises Nikki to call the police. But it doesn't seem like Nikki followed the advice, because once she left after getting a text from one of the babysitters, Nikki was never seen alive again. The next day, there was a post on Facebook that Nikki supposedly made that she was with her 3-year-old daughter, but her loved ones don't believe that she wrote it, especially since Arianna was still 2 years old, so Nikki would know how old her child is. After reading this post, loved ones just could not reach her, and Nikki was nowhere to be found, so they reported Nikki and Arianna missing on April 5th of 2016. On April 8th of 2016, tragedy would strike. So Nikki's body was found by a groundskeeper in a place called McLaren Park, covered with a spray-painted plywood. Now, the police, is definitely called and they identify Nikki, but Arianna is still nowhere to be found. So the police, this is very tricky. So the police, now that they have found Nikki's body, this is now a homicide investigation. But since Arianna is nowhere to be found, this is still a missing persons investigation as well. And because her mother is dead, the police are pretty much in that mindset that Arianna is most likely in danger. Hearn, Helena, and Helena's husband David eventually were looked at and questioned by the police, but none of them were cooperating and none of them were giving consistent statements. If that wasn't already sketchy enough, I'm gonna assume that David is Helena's second husband, because back in the day, she served only 6 years for killing the father of her child. Like, when I read that, it literally blew my mind. Like, how on earth do you serve only 6 years for not only taking a man's life, but taking your child's father away from them? Now, I doubt that she killed him in self-defense because I'm pretty sure that she wouldn't have served time for it. But what's even crazier is that none of these people are considered suspects to Nikki's murder and Arianna's disappearance. Of course, the family misses Nikki, and of course they still miss Arianna, but they believe that Arianna is alive out there somewhere. Now, Contessa has been her sister and her niece's advocate ever since, and is fighting to get this case heard, and is fighting really hard to get this case out there. So Contessa actually believes that Arianna did catch somebody's attention, and that this person wanted to raise Arianna for themselves because of how lovable Arianna was. If you have any information at all, please be a snitch. Call 911 or the FBI San Francisco office, which is 414-553-7400, and there is a $250,000 reward. It's been 6 long years since Nikki has been murdered and since Arianna has been missing. Next month, she'll be like 9 years old. So if Arianna is alive, that means that she's lost 6 years without the mother who worked hard to provide for her, and she's lost 6 years of the family who loves and misses her and her mother. I do pray for Nikki and Arianna's loved ones. My prayer is that God would comfort them and provide them with the answers that they've been searching for over 6 years. The God that I serve, the God of the Bible, is an all-seeing God. He knows exactly where Arianna is, but he is also a God of justice. So whoever took Nikki's life is not going to escape the Lord's judgment. I thank you all for taking the time in your day to watch this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts on this case at all, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there's a certain true crime case that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see you all for the next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to you all later.